The last witch execution in Massachusetts was in 1692, and there were no witch trials in New England after 1693. As late as 1712, Jane Wenham was condemned to death in England, but the judge got her pardon to the fury of the people. The last execution for witchcraft in Germany was in 1775. In Spain, the last witch was burned in 1781. In Switzerland, Anna Goldi was beheaded in 1782 for bewitching the child of a physician. In Poland, 2 women were burned as late as 1793. Today we will learn about Anna Goldi, the last witch of Europe. Europe's Last Witch Hunt by Imogen Foulkes, BBC News, Switzerland. Fear and superstition fueled witch hunts all over Europe in the Middle Ages and caused the deaths of many innocent women. The last execution for witchcraft took place more than 200 years ago, but campaigners in Switzerland claim it may be time to clear Anna Goldi's name. To understand Anna Goldi's story, you need to go where it unfolded, in the tiny Swiss canton of Glarus. It's a long, narrow valley. The mountains loom above. The villages are squeezed below into the spaces where the gray rock unwillingly makes way for earth and grass. You get the sense, even today, that many of the world's events have passed Glarus by. This was where Anna Goldi arrived in 1765, looking for work as a maid. One of the houses she worked in still exists. It is imposing, smug almost, 4 stories high, with a grand doorway and the crests of the noble Glarus families who lived there painted on its walls. It is the first clue to Anna Goldi's fate. Witchcraft. She found work with Jacob Teshuti, the magistrate and a rising political figure. We know from records of the time that Anna Goldi was tall, generously proportioned, with dark hair, brown eyes, and a rosy complexion. These attributes were not lost on her employer. All went well to begin with, until one morning one of the Teshuti children found a needle in her milk. 2 days later, needles appeared in the bread as well, and suspicion fell upon Anna. Despite her protestations of innocence, she was sacked by the Teshutis, accused of witchcraft, tortured, and finally executed. Not in the Middle Ages, but in 1782, at the height of Europe's so-called Age of Enlightenment. But today, Walter Hauser, a local journalist, does not believe Anna died because isolated Glarus remained mired in medieval superstition. Researching the original records of the case, he found something far more banal. Jacob Teshuti had an affair with Anna Goldi, he explains. When she was sacked, she threatened to reveal that. Adultery was a crime then. He stood to lose everything if it was found out. But at that time in Glarus, witchcraft was a crime. Mr. Hauser calls Anna's trial and execution judicial murder. Educated people here did not believe in witchcraft in 1782, he insists. Anna Goldi was a threat to powerful people. They wanted her out of the way, accusing her of being a witch. It was a legal way to kill her. Anna Goldi's ordeal remains in meticulous detail in the Glarus archives. Confessions under torture. This woman, who could neither read nor write, was questioned day and night by the religious and political leaders of Glarus. She insisted on her innocence, so they tortured her, hanging her up by her thumbs and tying stones to her feet. When she finally confessed, it was to all sorts of bizarre cliches. The devil had appeared to her in the form of a black dog. The needles had been given to her by Satan. But once free of the torture, she withdrew her confession. They tortured her again so brutally that she confessed again and stuck with her confession. 2 weeks later, she was led out to the public square where her head was cut off with a sword. Fritz Scheisser, who today represents Glarus in the Swiss parliament, believes it's time to officially acknowledge this as a miscarriage of justice. Everyone agrees that what happened was completely wrong, he tells me. We need to take this last step and admit it. But in Glarus, opinions are mixed. At the local high school, many students are uncomfortable about reviving this old story. I agree it was shocking, but that was Glarus then, says one girl. It happened a long time ago, said another. I don't think people today should be held responsible for the past. An official apology was finally made after great international pressure at the end of the 1990s, but the authorities in Glarus do not want to learn from that. They could exonerate Anna Goldi today, but refuse to do so, calling it a cheap solution which would help no one. Journalist Walter Hauser is disappointed. We were the last in Europe to execute a woman for witchcraft, he says. It is a stain on our history. Now we could do something to erase that stain. Fritz Scheisser has tabled a motion in Parliament calling for Anna Goldi's exoneration. This weekend, a museum will open in Glarus dedicated to her. It is ironic, really. When Anna Goldi was executed, the people of Glarus tried to hush it up, afraid of what the rest of the world would think. 225 years later, her story has come back to haunt them. This is the interior of the Anna Goldi Museum. In 2019, an anonymous donor gave 1 million francs towards the maintenance of the museum in honor of women's rights and Anna Goldi.